Welcome to another systems edition of NCIX Tech Tips. This one is going to be focused on value gaming and the AMD ecosystem that gives you more control of all of the components that make up your entire gaming rig. Bling, bling. The outside enclosure is a BitPhoenix Merc, which gives us adequate cooling for the type of machine that's inside without blowing the budget on the case, because it is a more value-oriented system. So at the front, you can install up to 3 5¼ devices, 1 3½ external device, and in this case, we've gone with an external card reader and USB 3 port, upgrading the I/O that's included with this case quite significantly. At the bottom, you find a tasteful BitPhoenix logo as well as a ventilation grill here and slightly under the lip of the front of the case here to give that front intake fan more room to draw in air. On the top of the case, we've got 4 USB 2.0 ports, which gives us a total of 5 USB ports on the front and top of the case, indicator LEDs, microphone and headphone jacks, power and reset switches. Also on the top are 2 more ventilation slots where you can install additional 120mm fans. However, they are not pre-installed, but it will still give you some passive cooling just from heat naturally rising out of the top of the chassis. On the side, you find more ventilation holes. These don't have fan mounting, but it aids again in that passive cooling, allowing air to be drawn in and fresh air to be expelled. Not fresh air to be expelled. Here. Okay. Yeah, just keep going. Allowing air to be drawn in near the video card or hot air from the video card, depending on the cooler type, to be expelled slightly naturally, so to speak. On the back, I/O is taken care of by our ASUS motherboard, so I'm just going to pop these out. 2 PS2 ports, just in case you still have a PS2 mouse and keyboard. 2 USB 3 super speed ports, so that's a total of 3 accessible on the system. 6 USB 2.0 ports. Optical audio out, gigabit Ethernet, 7.1 audio, as well as up to 4 displays out on the graphics card itself. The side panel is removed with a couple of thumb screws, and then all you got to do is pop it off if you want to perform any maintenance or upgrades. Just going to put those thumb screws aside for now. And there we go. This is what makes this bad boy tick. So there's an ASUS M5A97R2 motherboard that is a Crossfire capable motherboard. However, there's only one graphics card in here. And what you'll notice is there's no storage hard drive. There's a 120 gig SSD for storage. It uses a Hyper 212 CPU cooler from Cooler Master, so that's one of those value options for budget overclocking, which is great because the CPU in here is an FX 6300, so that uses piledriver cores. It's a 6-core processor, which gives you not only good performance in games that require good single-threaded performance, because it's clocked at 3.5 gigahertz, but also games that demand good multi-threaded performance, such as Battlefield 3. The graphics card is where most of the budget for this system was blown, and there's a good reason for that. There's a 7870 here, which means you get a free copy of BioShock Infinite and Tomb Raider. Very, very cool. And it also means that when it comes time to run games, CPU power is good to a point. But if you want to turn up graphical details like anti-aliasing or more effects or whatever else, you rely mostly on the GPU. So that's why everything else in here is pretty modest, but it was splurged on the graphics card. So it's a 7870 DirectCU from ASUS, and finally powering it is a Seasonic 520 watt 80 plus bronze power supply, which is going to make sure that the system is quite efficient even under gaming load. So with 8 gigs of RAM, a good graphics card, an unlocked processor, what else can be added? Full system control. So because you're using Radeon graphics and an AMD CPU, you get graphics card overclocking, you get the AMD Vision Engine Control Center, you get CPU overclocking and system tuning, including, down to every last detail of your motherboard, including things like setting different profiles for the different components of your system based on things like applications or custom rules or whatever else you want to do. You can set CPU core affinities based on launching a particular application. You can also get Radeon RAM disk. That's a free download for AMD users. So here's a regular test of the SSD itself. You can can use the RAM as a place to store super high performance applications. Here's what memory looks like. So it's like 10 times the performance of a regular RAM disk. Thank you for checking out this systems edition of NCIX Tech Tips, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this from your favorite detailer, NCIX.com.